All right, Redline Shorts. This episode, I don't even know what one we're on, but today we're looking at Stuck in the Mud, a very powerful tactic card for the United Nations of Earth for the low cost of 5 resources, or it's got the recon symbol. You can also use reconnaissance to play this card. You can basically flip an enemy unit over before combat begins and basically nullify, take an enemy efreet out of the fight before the fight even starts. Very important card in Redline, to be honest, right? So in a lot of other card games, you might have a lot of cards that will be like insta-kill, right? That could just start killing your enemy's units or soldiers or whatever instantly. In Redline, we tried to avoid that. Redline is basically a tabletop game played with cards. And if you have the ability to just snuff out enemy units with a single card, that really defeats the purpose of our combat system, our simultaneous combat system, and how it works. So in Redline, there are no cards that instantly kill your enemy units, right? Again, most card games have that. It's an important way to balance some of those games, but Redline's a little different, and we could not have that in our game, right? You got to earn your kills. There's no free kills in this game. But it is important to be able to efficiently and quickly and sometimes easily get rid of some of your enemy's troublesome units, but we didn't want to be able to just outright kill them. So how do you do that? Well, in Redline, our game has a flipping mechanic. So you can actually flip enemy cards over, which is kind of like, think of it as like a temporary exile. So the card's not destroyed if it flips. A flip card is just not in the game while it's kind of temporarily disappeared, I guess you could say. So that's exactly what Stuck in the Mud will do. So for 5 resources, you can flip an enemy efreet over, take them out of combat before combat begins. It will come back next turn. It's not taking any damage, right? But you can at least get rid of some troublesome unit to make things easier for you when you start shooting and engaging in combat. So that's the idea behind the card, is we didn't want a kill card, but we did want a way to negate enemy units that could be troublesome and do it in a way that wouldn't kill them. So that's the idea behind the card here. Very, very powerful. This card had a lot of balancing problems. I think in the beginning it was too cheap. We didn't really realize how powerful it was to actually, again, for a turn, quote unquote, kill, remove an enemy unit from battle. And then afterwards, it did, I think we tried playing it at 7 resources. It was just a little too expensive. So like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I can't talk. This card was too cheap. Then it was too expensive. I think 5 is a good spot for it right now. Now you can always dip in and pay recon, just like any tactic, to make it a lot more affordable on your resource cost. But again, don't overlook this card. You could really gain the upper hand real quickly on an opponent who doesn't see it coming. And the art is just awesome. I love the art for this thing. It's Crimson Pact Claymore. It's all dirty and muddy, and it looks like, it's kind of got the maybe like a World War I aesthetic to it a little bit, right? It's just kind of sketchy and grimy and dirty, and it looks like it's like going through the muddy bog of no man's land. Really awesome art here, and a very powerful card. So Stuck in the Mud, if you've used it, you know it's the real deal. And if you had it used against you, you know it can really screw up your plans. So very powerful, and one of the tricks that the United Nations of Earth deck has in Redline Tactical Card Combat.